You guys, today I'm filming a video that I'm both very excited to film and slightly dreading, because today we are going to swatch all of my green eyeshadows and I'm really excited about it. So originally I saw Beauty do this series. I'm not sure if anyone else has done it before. I'll go back and check her video and see if she gave credit to someone else, and of course I'll have them linked in my description box below. But basically what she does is she goes through her collection color by color and just like swatches all of like that tone of shadow in her collection, and I thought it was a wonderful idea. Especially because I feel like going through all my palettes and just watching all my green shadows will really just like encourage me to shop my stash some more. And you guys know I'm still on my no buy, so of course I need all the encouragement I can get. And I think it'll just be a fun way to rediscover some shadows in my collection. I love green eyeshadow. I know you guys love green eyeshadow, so I thought, what better place to start than green eyeshadow. I decided not to include my singles. If you guys want to see all my green singles, I can certainly do a different video on that. But like, if you guys could see how many palettes I have stacked on my desk right now, it's absolutely ridiculous. We would be here for 10 hours. So for expediency's sake, we're just gonna do my palettes today. We'll do singles another day if you guys have any interest in that. But I'm not gonna ramble on any further. We've got a lot of swatching to do, so let's hop into it. All right, I've got my swatch arm prepped, and I guess we're just gonna start off with what's on top. And the first palette is the Muse Beauty Impressionism palette. This is the newest palette to my collection. It was sent to me in PR from the brand, so thank you so much, Muse Beauty. We've got three lovely green shadows right here. First we have Parasol, which is like a minty green. Then we have Verdant, which is a metallic grassy green, and then finally we have Undergrowth, which is a beautiful, super like vibrant, deep grassy green. This is like the color of crayon grass green. Does that make sense? I've only played with this palette a couple of times, so I really don't have a lot of thoughts on these shadows yet. I don't think I've even dipped into the greens to use them on my eyes. I did use it on my eyes today, and I did film a little tutorial for my Instagram story, and I did a pictorial too, so if that's up, I'll link it down below if you guys want to check it out. But here are those three. Next up, we have the So Dated palette from ColourPop, and there are a couple of green tones in here. These are more like muted green tones. They're not so bam in your face. First, we have Emerald, which is a beautiful metallic, emerald green. I need to do a holiday look with that ASAP. And then Jade, which is a beautiful like grungy olive green. I feel like it's been a while since I've worn like a grungy olivey green on my eyes, and I feel like I need to remedy that ASAP. I've been wearing a lot of like vibrant green looks. These are so pretty. I'm so happy already. Okay guys, next up we have the Emily Edit palette from Makeup Revolution, and this does have just a couple of little green tones sprinkled in through here. First we have the shade Grateful, which is a soft greeny shade. Then we have Side Hustle, which is more of an olive. And then finally we have Corduroy. I was so obsessed with Corduroy when I got this palette. It's the most beautiful like deep hunter green shade. Oh my goodness. I need to pull this palette out and use it some more. It's a beautiful palette. The Makeup Revolution formula is not my favorite, which is why it doesn't get a whole lot of love from me, but those colors are gorgeous. Okay guys, this next palette has quite a few greens, and it is the Morphe 35M palette and Boss Mood palette. Look at all these gorgeous greens, you guys. I feel like this was the start of my love of grungy greens. I bought this palette and I bought Good Sport in like a 2-week period, and then I was like, I love a good grungy green. But we have, let me see if I can flip this thing around so I can read these names while I swatch them. Okay, so we have Green with Envy, Nude Tude, Express Yourself, and Stroke of Luck to start out with. Ooh, these are not swatching well, you guys. This was kind of the end of my love affair with Morphe. I really loved the Jaclyn Hill palette when it came out. The formula was beautiful, and then I tried this palette and I was just like, what happened? So I haven't bought a Morphe palette since, and honestly I don't think I'll be purchasing from them anymore just because I'm not a fan of their business practices. Okay, so next we have Popstar. Ooh, that's really pretty. Stand Out, Bold Moves, and Electric Energy. Ooh, those are pretty. These shimmers are just like weak sauce to me, you know? They don't have a lot of shine to them. They feel very thin, which not that a thin shimmer can't be impactful, but it's just not my jam anymore, you know? Okay, shall we start swatching on this side of my arm? I'm gonna get some creative arm positions in this video. And then the last two shades that I'm gonna swatch are Electric Energy and Hello Sunshine. These two. Like, this is just a grungy green dream. Ooh, I don't know if that's gonna work. Okay, guys, next we're gonna dip into Good Sport from ColourPop. This does have a couple of beautiful green tones kind of sprinkled in. First, we have the shade Hooked, which is a very muted green. It's kind of like a taupey green. Then we have Trophies, which is a beautiful, super deep green. And then we have EBB. What does that stand for? Which is that beautiful, like, intense golden green. I feel like that shade does not look green swatched against all the other greens. It's just very soft. Okay, guys, I think we might just have to switch to my other arm, and I'm probably gonna have to wipe out my arms halfway through this because, like, we're only 4 palettes and I'm already, like, out of space. But next we have the Persona Cosmetics Identity 2 palette. This has the most gorgeous deep emerald green in here. This one is called Driven. Beautiful, beautiful tone. Next up, we have the Creepy Cute palette from Shroud Cosmetics, and we have two kind of green tones in here. First, we have Take a Hint, which is a beautiful pastel, like lime green, and then we have Creep It Real. This one is definitely more of a mint green. Oh, these tones are so, so pretty. I need to do like a pastel look, but like make it Christmas, you know? I feel like that would be an interesting take on like holiday makeup. I feel like holiday makeup is usually a little bit smokier, a little bit more like jewel toned, but it might be interesting to do like a pastel twist on it. Okay, next up we have the Deuce palette from Juvia's Place, and there's a beautiful kind of mint chocolate chip green in here called Macaroons. It is so awkward to swatch with my left hand, you guys. I feel like I'm just totally like fiddling around with everything. Here's Macaroons. That is a beautiful, beautiful shadow. That's one of my favorite shades in that palette. I feel like I love that palette more for these shades like standing alone versus like it as a palette, you know? Next up we have the Blossom palette from Blush Tribe. This was my first indie makeup product and my first rainbow palette. So I'm going to dip into these shades Flax right here. This is a beautiful pastel mint. And then Clover right here, which is a gorgeous, very, very vibrant I was gonna say mossy green, but this is definitely a grassy green. So here we have Flax. And oh, Clover's a little low. Oh my goodness. Can you guys even believe how intense those are? Oh my goodness. I'm always a little hesitant to post like swatch heavy videos because I feel like it just ends up me like squealing over makeup for like 20 minutes or however long the video ends up being. Next up we have the Menagerie Cosmetics Killer Purr palette, and in here I feel like the only really true green is this shade right here called Boabab. I'm not sure what that is. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful olive green. Next up we have the Ace Beauté Flare palette, and this one has two really, really beautiful green shades in it. First up we have the shade Sherbet, which is this beautiful like electric neon yellow green, and then we have Moss, which is a gorgeous olivey mossy green, you know, as the name would suggest. There's our electric green. How beautiful is that color? Oh my goodness. It does take a little bit of building to get that shade on your eyes, but once you get it there, it's well worth it, you guys. And you guys can see that Moss is a little bit more sheer. Ace Beauté's mattes are a little bit funky to work with. They're not impossible to work with, but they're not like an ABH shadow or a Sydney Grace shadow to where it's just like a dream to work with. but they do come up with some really, really cool color stories that sometimes make it worth, you know, fighting with the shadow. Next up, we have the e.l.f. Retro Paradise palette, and the only green shade in here is Baha Mar. It's this beautiful, like, mint chocolate chip green. This is so pretty. Here's that swatch right here. This one's like a lightly satin shade. It's got just a little bit of like shine and sparkle to it. Not a ton, where I wouldn't really place it all over my lid, but also like just a touch, you know? Okay, next up we have the Kaleido Cosmetics, I was gonna say Please Pop, but Pastel Pop palette. This palette has two beautiful pastel green shades. First we have Flipper, which this one I feel like is definitely more of like a yellow toned green, especially in comparison to Iceworm, which is more of like a minty green. So here is Flipper. Oh, these are gonna be hard to swatch. And Iceworm. Yeah, you guys probably aren't even going to be able to see those. I did do a full video on the Menagerie Pastel Pup palette, and I did include swatches in there, so I can link that down below if you guys are interested in learning more about that palette and seeing some better swatches of it. So I think I may have to take a quick break and wipe off my arms. I am totally covered in green shadow, so give me 2 seconds. So I'm going to go wipe my arm off, and then we can start fresh again. Alright, you guys, I'm back with clean arms. Let's start off with the Juvia's Place Mini Masquerade palette. This one has one really, really beautiful green shade in it. It's called Molly. It's a really pretty cool tone, vibrant green shade. I don't know, you guys. I don't think I'm sold on the Juvia's Place formula. I haven't purchased a palette from them in a very long time. I do think the formula is a little bit better in the Tribe palette, which we're going to swatch quite a few shades in there in just a little bit. But the metallics in this one are just a little bit lackluster to me, you know? Next, we're going to dive into the Magic palette from Juvia's Place. And again, this one has a couple of green shades in it. These are much more deep. Actually, I'm interested to see how these kind of compare to Molly right here, because I feel like they could be a little bit similar. So we have Yara right here, which is like a really interesting tone of green. It's got a lot of blue in it, which is always interesting to me, like when it's still green but it's not teal, you know. And then we also have Buzo right here, which I feel like this is just probably going to be a darker version of Molly. So we have Buzo, and I already forgot what this one's name was. But that is beautiful. Oh my goodness, that would make the prettiest like Christmas smoky eye. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is making me so excited for like holiday look. Should I do red next? Should we do green and red back to back so it's like Christmas explosion? Are you guys decorating for Christmas yet? Where are you at in the Christmas spirit process? I am in the DIY decor phase right now, and I'm going to start watching Christmas movies very soon. Actually, I watched one with the little girl that I babysit. We watched The Grinch the other day, and it was fantastic, and it just made me so happy. But anyways, next up we have the Friendcation palette from Dose of Colors. Obviously, there's just one green shade in here. It's this beautiful, super glittery, metallic, gorgeous olive tone. I forgot what it's called. They're not labeled. I think it's called Dirty Money. One of my favorite shadows in my collection. I feel like $1,000,000 every single time I wear this shadow. It just, I feel like it's the perfect cross between green and bronze to where it just really makes my eyes pop, and I love that it has like that thicker, chunkier, sparkly texture. It's just breathtakingly beautiful. Next up we have the Artemis palette from Shop Alter Ego, or just Alter Ego, not Shop Alter Ego. Here's what this palette looks like. It is a dupe for the Metropolis palette, and it has quite a few green shadows in it. First up we have Silent, which is this beautiful kind of like slightly deepened Granny Smith green. This is not going to swatch well because it's that like cream to powder finish that Natasha Denona put in here and that Alter Ego replicated. So this is going to be a really bad swatch. I'm just going to tell you guys that in advance. We also have, I don't know if I would qualify Spirit as a green. It's looking really golden on this light. I guess we just have Quest up here, which is like a taupey kind of green. And then we have Stealth down here, which is a matte, really beautiful deep hunter green. I guess, you know what, Pursuit, I guess we can qualify this as like an emerald shadow. Alright, so this one's gonna swatch. Oh, you know what, that actually swatched better than I expected it to. It's still very light. These shadows are a little bit funky. You have to build them up a lot. But that was a better swatch than what I was anticipating. Again, a very bronzy olivey green. this beautiful, beautiful matte green. And then finally, the emerald. Oh. Next up, we have the Tiny Marbles palette from Sydney Grace. This is the one that they created in collaboration with Mel Thompson, and there are two beautiful green shades in here. The first one is called Mantis. It's one of the most gorgeous matte greens I have in my collection. And then we have Fire Butts right here, which this is like a very metallic, light taupey green shadow. I feel like it looks kind of green in the palette, and now that I have it on my finger, I'm not sure how green it will actually be. It's so metallic. Can you guys even believe how incredibly metallic that is? I'm going to do a video in the next week or so. I'm filming it the next week or so. I'm not sure when it's going to go up. All about indie shadows that I think beat out like Natasha Denona quality, and Sydney Grace is at like the very tippy top of that list. Next up, we have the Nomad Cosmetics Malibu palette, and this is the cutest little quad. Oh my goodness, you guys. This shadow right here, it's technically not green. It's like a grungy brownish swampy green shade. One of my favorite shadows that I have in my collection. I think it's absolutely incredible. But right now I'm just going to swatch Bungalow. It's a beautiful soft pastel green shadow. You guys probably can't really even see that on camera. Next up, I'm going to swatch the Tribe palette from Juvia's Place. Oh my goodness, you guys. This is one of my favorite palettes in my collection. It is so beautiful. It has so many gorgeous greens, so many shades that have like a beautiful green twist or pair just beautifully with greens. First up, we have, I believe this is called Messiah. I'm not sure. This is like, again, that kind of really electric yellow green. Then we have the shade Tootsie. Beautiful, like bordering on neon super vibrant green. Then I'm trying to decide if I would classify Coral as a green. No, not really. We're gonna wipe that one off on the back of my hand. Then we have the shade Kuba, which is a beautiful deep emerald. And finally, we end the palette with the shade San, which is a gorgeous super duper deep matte green. All right, let's swatch those right here. I think these are gonna be the last ones that make it on this arm. Be still my heart. These are so beautiful. I love like the range of greens that I have on my arm right now. I feel like these ones are very like yellow based greens, and these ones are more like blue green. Alright, next up we have the Lorac Shine Bright palette. Lorac is not cruelty free, but I did purchase this before I went totally cruelty free, so just a little disclaimer in there. And in this palette, really the only green is this shade right here called Spruce. Again, beautiful emerald. I have so many emerald shadows in my collection. I never need to buy another one again. Now we have the BH Cosmetics Weekend Festival palette, and this really only has one green shadow in here, and it's called Neon. It's that really classic like yellow greeny shadow. This is one of my favorite green shades in my collection to work with. How pretty is that? I feel like I have better formulas in this shade, but like shade wise, so pretty. Oh my goodness. Next, we have the e.l.f. and J. Kissa To The Rescue palette. This is how I decorated mine. This one has like three beautiful, almost like, I was gonna say primary greens, but they're not quite primary greens. But we have this shade Reagan right here, which is a beautiful metallic money green. Then we have the shade Tank, which is a gorgeous like matte deep green. And then finally, we have the shade Peaky, which is such a beautiful vibrant like blue green shadow almost. Let's swatch those out right here. Oh my, those were some very messy swatches, but how beautiful is that, you guys? I feel like I like that palette for the fact that it makes wearing color really easy. So if you're someone who's kind of just looking to get into color, that might be a good palette for you to try. The formula is not my all-time favorite, but the color story is really pretty. Okay, next up we have the Whale Song palette from Menagerie Cosmetics. Okay, this palette is a little messy, so I'm going to be really careful with it because this shadow is a little bit shattered. First we have Kelp, which is that beautiful kind of like dirty green olive green. Then we have Plankton, which is more of a muted, soft, grungy green. Then we have Reef, which is one of those really, really beautiful, vibrant, super intense greens. And then we have Bubble Net, which is a gorgeous matte dark green. Oh my gosh, there's so much green eyeshadow on me right now. And then there's one more green shadow that we're gonna have to come back for because I ran out of fingers. I adore the greens in that palette, you guys. If you guys enjoy green eyeshadow, I actually just filmed a Shop My Stash for Dupes video on the new Jeffree Star Blood Money palette that I can link down below. I basically just put like almost all of my green single shadows in a palette, and it was so much fun to do. Then the last green in here is called Splash. Again, absolutely stunning emerald shadow. Okay, next up we have the ColourPop Misunderstood palette. I always want to call this the ColourPop Disney Villains palette, which it is, but it also has a name. So in here we have two green shadows. The first one is called Diablo, which is this beautiful, again, that kind of like yellowy green metallic shade. And we have the shade Facile right here, which is a gorgeous deep, deep emerald green. That has quite a bit of shimmer in it. It's absolutely stunning. There are those two swatched. Okay, so what have I learned from this? I probably don't need more green eyeshadow ever, but I especially don't need like that yellowy green metallic shadow or an emerald shadow. I'm good. I've got so many of those. You guys, I think we might have to wipe off my arm one more time to get the rest of these swatches in. We have 4 more palettes, and each of them have a couple of greens in them. So the next one is Through My Eyes from ColourPop. This was a collaboration with I Love Sarah He. This one is one of my favorite palettes. I just love the color story, but the two greens in here are Emerald Dream. Yet another emerald. This one's a little bit more vibrant than some of the other ones. And then we have Moody, which is a beautiful deep green matte shadow. Oh, I hope you guys could see those swatches. Actually, you know what? I think I'm just going to do the rest of them on like the back of my hands. There's no eyeshadow on there. Next up, we have the Menagerie Cosmetics Feral palette. This is such a beautiful palette, you guys. It has so many gorgeous shadows. I feel like the really only true greens are these 3 right here. There's this shade called Huchera. I think that's how you say that one. Then we have Ivy, which is a beautiful deep matte green. And then we have Fenris, which is a gorgeous kind of like olivey green. Oh my goodness, how beautiful is that? Okay, next is the Arcana palette from Shroud Cosmetics once again, and we have 2 beautiful deep dark greens in here. We have the shade Darkling, which is a gorgeous super deep dark matte green, and then we have Alchemy, which is, say it with me, it's an emerald green shade. You know what, I feel like I only call something an emerald if it's shimmery. Like, I wouldn't call this shade an emerald if it was matte. Is that weird? Do you guys do that too? How beautiful is that? Oh, so gorgeous. Okay, you guys, I just realized that we have two more palettes that I didn't see there. So we have 3 palettes left technically. But next up we have the BH Cosmetics Royal Affair palette. This has 2 really beautiful standout green shadows. Crown right here, which is again that beautiful yellowy green. And then we have Monarch right here, which is a beautiful matte olive green. Monarch and Crown. I adore those shadows. The BH Cosmetics Royal Affair palette and the Shroud Cosmetics Arcana palette are both currently in my 25 Uses by Christmas project pan, and I have loved using these 2 green shades, especially in so many of the looks that I've been creating. Next up we have the ABH Prism palette. Oops, there goes the brush. And the only green in here is called Throne, and I hesitated to even include this one because it really doesn't look green in a swatch or on your eyes. It kind of just looks black. Not a big fan of that shadow, if you couldn't tell. And then the final green that I wanted to share with you guys is from the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette, and it is this really soft green right here called Bless Her Heart. This is like a training wheels green to me. It's like a taupey green. very, very muted, very much like not in your face. I'm pretty sure I could wear that and no one would realize that I was wearing green eyeshadow on my eyes. But that's gonna wrap up this video, you guys. I feel like it was such a long one, but I hope it was fun for you. It was really fun and relaxing for me to just kind of chat with you guys about eyeshadow, swatch out all my green eyeshadows. I am covered in eyeshadow. It's all over my pants. I hope it's not all over my chair. It's everywhere. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I had so much fun just swatching and chatting about eyeshadow. If you guys want to see more videos like this, if you want me to do like all the colors that I have in my collection, I would love to do that for you guys. This was really fun for me. But that's gonna wrap it up for me today. Leave me in a comment down below letting me know what your favorite green palette or green shadow is. I would love to know. Obviously, don't think I really need to buy any more green shadow, but I would still love to know nonetheless. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye! One more shot of green.